computers. LumaFusion, the new art of editing.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Short Film Show, the home of short films. Over the next hour we'll be taking in some films from all around the world, and please feel free to join in the conversation. All the usual social media links are on your screens. And if you've already made a short film, then we would love to hear from you. Do email us via the website, and of course you could even end up nominated for an International Short Film Show Award. Right, to our first film. This one is written and directed by Eduardo Matos. It is set in a small German village, and two total strangers end up discovering they have a mutual passion for photography, but end up exposing something quite different.
Ach, ganz gut. Ich dachte, du kommst vielleicht mit schwimmen. Hast du Lust? Wieso nicht? Und wie lange?
We're heading for a quick break right now, but when we come back, we're going to get the chance to explore humanity with some extraordinary 3D animation. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
just inspired to tell it. LumaFusion, the new art of editing.
It's really fun out there. The mission I chose is to understand our history. For me, human history is a reflection of the most powerful and instinctive emotions, breaking like weight on the constraints of their world. I study other mammals to try to understand their primitive cravings and fears. I'm sure they let these instinctive emotions fuel the great articulations of their history. They had a great civilization. They even ended up creating their open source religion. But in the end, they lacked something. They haven't found the true philosophical alchemy. Maybe they teach their kids competition instead of empathy. Everything collapsed very slowly. I still wonder why. I guess there were still animals.
Now, if you use a train to get to work, we all know it can be an everyday horror story. But have a look at Ella's experience in the Quiet Zone. I tell you what, you might be quite grateful for your commute.
For God's sake, will you be quiet?
The next station is Bates Hill.
Be quiet. Be quiet.
The next station is Bates Hill.
It's time for a short break now, after which it's off to Serbia for a very special delivery, so don't go away.
Whip it out.
New art of adventure. LumaFusion, the new art of editing.
Može. Pomaže Bog.
O, pa ti stigo.
Stigo, Gani tu.
Tu je negdje, ajde sedi.
Ma kažem mu da su mi stovari ovo ispred. Šta je sad?
Znaš da će da ti se naljuti ako ne svratiš.
Ma ne mogu, stvarno, žurim.
Dobro. Nada, kako ti je?
Kako može da bude?
Pozdravi je puno.
Ništa onda. Aj pa tako.
Ajde.
nataknem te. Poštovanje.
Isprave.
Što, ali nešto nije u redu?
Isprave.
Kako ti kažeš? Evo.
Kolega, provjerite mu, molim vas.
Kolega, nemoj da sviraš kurcu, poznajem čovjeka. Garantujem ti ja za njega.
Ali to, mogu sad da nastavim.
Polako, gospodine. Što ste tako nervozni?
Kako bre što? Prvo me zaustavljaš ovdje bez razloga, sad me još maltretiraš. A zbog čega, to samo ti znaš.
Rutinska kontrola. Ukoliko vam je vozilo u skladu sa propisima, neće biti nikakvih problema.
Prijatelj, teram ovaj kamion već 10 godina. Ne pamtim kad mi je zadnji put napisana kazna.
Onda nemate razloga za brigu, jel tako? Što imate pozadi?
Češ da vidiš?
Pa bilo bi lepo.
Ja bre ne znam, da li me ti iz dosade ovdje jebeš ili imaš nešto protiv mene. Odakle si ti uopšte?
Ne vidim kakve to veze ima sa bilo čim.
Nisi ti odakle. Ali te baš zanima šta ima. Gledaj sad.
Deset kila lakše. Sad možemo gdje hoćeš. Ajde bre, koji ti je?
Nešto razmišlja, majku, onaj kamionđija. Sam mi je bre čudan nekako, kao da nije nešto u redu sa njim.
Ćo ti more, ni ti ne bi bio bolji.
Razumem. Zašto?
Pali mašinu.
We'd be out of business if our van broke down. That's why we got a new one and got...
Now and then, there are some things that are just better left unsaid. LumaFusion, the new art of editing.
Welcome back to the final part of the short film show. Now, in our next film, which is called The Victim, the character Matt is being interviewed by the police following a horrific attack on him. This is made even more difficult and emotional to watch when you realise that Matt is only 16 years old.
Mr. Walker, I am Detective Inspector Eddington. I will be handling your case. Interview commences at 09:32. Officer present, D.I. Paul Eddington. Mr. Walker, for the purpose of the tape, would you please mind stating your full name, age, and address? Mr. Walker, for the benefit of the tape, would you please state your full name, age, and address?
Matt James Walker, 16, 2, Fairfield Park.
Thank you. Perhaps now, in your own words, you could detail to me the events of the evening of the 25th of August last year. In your own time.
We were in town. People everywhere. Good feeling. We were happy to be out together.
You and who?
Joel, my friend. We were having a good time in Ruby's, drinking and dancing.
Well, that's the gay club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mr. Walker, you are 16 years old. You're underage. You shouldn't have been there. You certainly shouldn't have been drinking there in the first place.
We managed to get fake IDs.
Were you perhaps maybe being promiscuous due to drink and drugs?
Well, what relevance does this? Alan, what happened?
Well, we appreciate...
No, don't you dare say that! You appreciate nothing. 12 months I've waited, 12 fucking months.
Waited? For what?
To recover. I guess, to recover from the horrid filth I feel. I feel trapped. I feel trapped.
So, what exactly happened that night?
I went into the bathroom to use a loo. when I got punched in the face. Didn't even see it coming. This man dragged me back. His nails stabbing me like 1,000 needles into an empty cubicle. Clamped his hand over my mouth so I couldn't scream out for help. The filthy smell of his cheap aftershave blew over me like a rash. The sound of drunkards puking up. The freezing cold towels pressed up against my nose, reminding me of winter, reminding me of those who I betrayed. Thinking to myself, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Murmuring to myself, I should have listened to my mum. She was right. Not the only one to blame. It's me. I want to escape. I want to be like it was before.
Calm down, Mr. Walker, and sit. Please.
We're great, me and Joel. Could have had our own little family. We could have gone for days out. Could have been happy. I remember the first time I met Joel. It was amazing. I guess some would say it was love at first sight. I was a great dancer he was an incredible pitcher. It was fun. I can't believe how everything's turned out. It's horrible. It's just horrible.
I'm sorry to hear that. But you sound as though your partner is no longer around.
That's right. He tried his best to support me, but he just couldn't cope anymore. He couldn't live with someone who'd been mentally and physically destroyed. He could not pick up the pieces of my mind and stitch them back together. He told me he loved me, then off he went.
And what's your relationship like with your family and friends? Are they there to support you when they're needed?
When the attack was released on the news, they sat and watched in disbelief and utter horror.
What? You mean you didn't tell them?
I didn't tell anyone. I felt ashamed and embarrassed. I did try, but every time I began to talk, someone would interrupt me and... Anyway, when the tragedy hit my friends and family, it hit them hard. Some struggled to believe me and I'd get angry, but then I'd stop and realise that sometimes even I'd struggle to believe myself. They all tell me everything will be okay. How can anything possibly be okay when he's still not locked away? You see, every time he stayed over, I'd wake up, I'd be happy, turn onto my side, wait for him to tell me how much he loves me. But now, all I hear is a deafening silence. Before, every afternoon, we'd go round my mum's. We'd have a great time. And now, I go there, I cry on her shoulder. I cry. I cry. I just can't take it anymore. I cannot imagine. I cannot pretend my life is still the same as it used to be. Before the attack, when you did what you did to me, you didn't just take away my virginity. He took away my rights, dignity, self-respect. A part of me that I'll never, ever get back. So that's it for me. The end of the road. There's no turning back, no recovery, no escape, no remorse, no justice. I hope he rots in hell! It's not just me it's affected, though, is it? It's destroyed my entire family. They're strong, though. I can't help them, can I? Don't need me. I can't protect myself. So, I can't protect them, can I?
I realise this must be an extremely difficult time for you. I wish you well with your recovery. Interview terminated at 11:16. I promise you, Matt, we will do everything we can so that you can get your justice.
So I'm delighted to say that I am joined now here in the studio by Dan Jeffrey, who isn't just the star of that film, but also the writer. So welcome to the Short Film Show, Dan.
Thank you very much.
It's lovely to have you here. I'm going to start with the obvious. You're very young. You're 17 now?
I am, yes.
Okay, but you were 16 when you wrote that film.
Yeah, just last year.
So it's very ambitious. How did it come about?
Well, my uncle, who's like in the industry, he has a friend who's a director, and he's very interested in like kind of looking at younger people's work, things like that. So my uncle kind of sent a monologue to him that I'd written and performed to screen, and he was really impressed with it. He said like, this is something to work with.
Okay, so the subject matter is obviously very difficult, and you've got to handle it sensitively. So how do you get ready to film a role like that? What did you do to prepare?
Basically, to prepare for that role, I kind of had to like research quite a lot into kind of, you know, victims of like sexual assault, like in male cases as well. So research was like vital. And then I had the opportunity to actually talk to someone in that position who that had happened to.
Now, there was one scene in particular in the film that's quite graphic, and I definitely found it quite sort of difficult to watch. What was it like to film?
Well, it was difficult to film. At first, I was kind of dreading the actual scene, and the actual horrific scene itself, the assault, was filmed lastly, just so that I could connect with the actors involved before actually going through with it. It's just to put me at ease mainly as an actor.
So it's very realistic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. Huge congrats on the film again. And to get all those awards is incredible. And I'll probably see you back here in a few years where you'll be like a master director, writer and actor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So that's all we've got time for this episode of the Short Film Show. But join us next time because there are plenty more short films coming your way.
What's the point of telling us